tell me your first and last name, so I have it.
That's Adam Harper.
Harper. And your rank?
Tech Sgt.
Okay. What's your job on the plane?
I'm a crew chief.
Crew chief, okay.
Yeah.
So, you ready to go home?
Oh yeah, more than ready.
Why are you ready?
Because I miss my family, my son most of all. And he's at the age, 3. He knows I'm gone, but he doesn't understand why. And it's, you can't. It's hard to put a time limit, so that they can understand that it's going to end. So I'm looking forward to getting back, being with him. I'm going to give my wife a break because he keeps her going. So she needs a break, and I'm sure he really wants. Well, I know he wants me home because I talked to her this morning.
So you were in the Guard for a while before you had kids.
Yeah, about 7 years. So I've been in for almost 10 now, and we waited till I was a full-time technician, and so it's it was good to wait. I think made me more prepared, or more. I don't know. I wanted to be a good dad, and I think I'm doing a good job, and I think it's because I'm a little bit older. But by waiting that long, it's tough adjusting to, I can't do trips like I used to go, and I knew my wife could take care of herself, and sometimes she probably enjoyed the break from me, and now it's hard leaving my son. It's changed my perspective quite a bit.
Have you been deployed since he was born?
I went to I went to the desert in 2005. He was a little over a year old, and that morning was the toughest because I think I had to be at the airport at 3, and he was still asleep, and I didn't want to wake him up. And it was everything I could do to leave the house. And I'm not usually that way. You don't have a problem with doing my job, but that was one time that I had to make myself leave, and it was tough. But short trips like we normally do, a couple days, a week, that's not as big a deal. But the long ones, because you realize when you do that they change so much, and it helps getting pictures, but it's not the same as being there. So.
You talk to him on the phone?
Yeah, yeah. He's just working into the talking on the phone, and that helps, but it's just not the same as being there.
They get distracted while he's talking to you in kind of places.
Yeah. Or he wants to tell me, about what he's doing and stuff, which is usually real short. It's like I'm playing, and then he goes. So, but that's good that it doesn't affect him like all the time. But my wife said that on this trip that when they would go visit other relatives, my uncle was here with me, and when they go over to my aunt's house and visit, she said that he wanted to come home because he thought that he'd come home when I'd be home. So it was tough to hear. But it's almost done, and I know he'll be happy to see me this evening.
It's like today. It sounds like from folks I've talked to that while you're there, you're focused on the job, and it's not, the homesickness doesn't set in.
You have to put it away. Some people are better at it than others. And usually before a trip, my wife kind of gets annoyed with me because I start, and the best way I can say is pulling back. Because I start, just trying to get used to just being me and thinking about things I have to do and not. It's kind of like you gotta separate yourself from your family and just kind of put them away. You can't think about them all the time. And that's not saying that I don't think about them a lot, but I try to not dwell on the fact that I'm gone or anything. And then it's helped too. There's been a couple of us. One of the guys that left on Chalk 1. He has a son, he's about a year younger than me, and there were a couple evenings that we'd sit around and we talked about our kids. And, it was tough, and you could tell there's a point that we both just stopped because we couldn't go on any longer. But that's pretty common. People talk about their kids, and you'll see, like I said, it goes to a point and it stops. Just because you can't go too long with it, or it'll end up making you miserable for a while.
So it's been 5 days of crisscrossing the world to get back. I mean, how you felt like, has it gotten you more and more excited, or did you get really excited and then just get tired of waiting and ready to get there?
I've done this enough now that it's just kind of, I try to look at it as my way of working back to reality. And that's what I was having a discussion with my uncle before we left. I was a criminal justice major and had studied corrections, and that's the thing, and I guess not many people talk about it, but soldiers, especially when you're in a controlled environment, you're going through the same thing that prisoners are when they come back to being released. Is you go from structure to you can do whatever you want, and it's disorienting. It's hard to get used to, and so usually I just keep to myself and try to work myself back into, going, well, I'll get up now because I feel like, I'll take a shower now because I feel, and that helps. But as far as coming back, I've done this enough. It's just one of the things. I don't get really excited about it because it's, there's always a chance that something on the airplane could break, weather delay. So I just kind of take it as it comes.
Yeah, it seems like it's taken a long time from my perspective.
It does, but this is probably makes a dozen trips I've made back and forth across the Atlantic, and it doesn't get any better. It's all about the same. You just find a way to occupy your time while you're waiting. Here, watch out. That's what I was telling somebody this morning. I love my C-130, and I love being a crew chief on a C-130, but I don't love flying on them for more than 2 hours. That's the only problem, that they're a little slow, but it's good to come home. And it's good to come home when you're in airplanes.
Yeah. All right. So what are you going to do with your first night of freedom?
Well, that's what I was talking to the wife yesterday. She said, well, do you want anything special for dinner? And I said, well, I'm probably going to be kind of tired and not care too much. I said, I don't really want to go out to eat. And I know my son's going to want to ride my Mustang. That's his favorite thing. So I said, well, maybe me and him will go out and get us pizza. So I don't know. Pretty much, I like to go home and play it by ear. Because it's, like I said, a lot of structure. It's nice just to go home and do whatever.